Hello, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are doing well. It's a beautiful day here in Hannah, and I hope that you guys are doing formidable. And you guys remember I did an MBTI sort of homage to the MBTI, analyzing some of the different functions of personalities, looking at which ones are masculine and which ones are feminine. And that was actually a really interesting video. I really liked that one because managed to share some facts that I think many people didn't know. Like if you're interested in MBTI, of course. And I am every day I learn something new. And guess what I found recently? As you can see here in the picture, um, it's basically classifying all the different cognitive functions based on how uh, good or evil they are. And there's all this like lawful good, lawful evil, neutral evil, chaotic good, chaotic evil, and so on and so forth. Anyway, why is this interesting? Well, it's interesting because it kind of fits in with the video that I made in the past about the which cognitive functions are masculine, which cognitive functions are feminine. And you notice something here. What do you notice? All of the cognitive functions which are masculine are considered to be evil, except for SI, which is considered to be neutral. And all the cognitive functions which are considered to be feminine are considered to be good, except for NE. Very interesting. So, you sometimes hear it said by a lot of people, especially by feminists, that men are dogs, men are demons, men are evil, and women are good, little angels. I'm starting to think about this, and I'm thinking maybe there's some fucking truth to this. You know what I mean? There might be some truth to this. If you even think about it, most of the evil things that are perpetrated by people, most of the evil things that were done by people, were pretty much done by men, and specifically by very masculine men. You think about the bad things that Saddam Hussein has done. You think about the bad things that Osama bin Laden has done. Nobody would argue that, Saddam Hussein or Vladimir Putin or Vlad the Impaler or, Ivan the Terrible or Osama bin Laden or, I don't know, pick any one of these historically evil people, Adolf Hitler, um, think about any of these evil people that have pretty much genocidal maniacs that have killed millions and tons of fucking people. They were quite evil, obviously, and they were men. And not only were they men, but they also happened to be particularly masculine types of people. You can say whatever you want about, Saddam Hussein, about his politics. You can say that he was an evil person. You can call him a genocidal maniac. But I don't think anybody would accuse him of not being a real man. I wouldn't think anybody would accuse him of being unmasculine. Um, by the way, Saddam Hussein is an ESTJ. An ESTJ would be TESI. So they would be leading with TE, which is lawful evil, and then secondary function SI would be neutral. Lawful neutral, right? Let's look at Vladimir Putin. Very evil person, right? I think most people would agree that he's a very evil person. But he also happens to be a paragon of masculinity. He is an ISTP. What is ISTP? It's TISE. And TISE is, as you can see here on a picture, TI is a neutral evil. It's an evil function. And SE is also evil. It's chaotic evil. It's another. So they have the double whammy of evil. You will typically notice this. ISTPs and ESTPs are typically much, much, much more likely to commit crimes and criminal activities and do evil things than even an ESTJ would, or an ISTJ. Not that ESTJs are particularly peaceful beings or whatever, which is not true at all. I wouldn't consider myself to be a particularly peaceful individual, and I have done my fair share of bad things in this world. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm not I'm not going to go and equivocate about morality and all this kind of stuff. I think it's all nonsense. But anyway, whatever. So yeah, I mean, most of these people historically who were very evil people happen to be men, and specifically they happen to be very masculine men. And they also, if you look at it, you will typically find that they have the most masculine cognitive functions. They have the most masculine personalities, even in the MBTI. So, Saddam Hussein, ESTJ, very masculine. Vladimir Putin, ISTP, very masculine. Donald Trump, ESTP, very masculine, not a particularly nice guy. I'm not going to say, well, I mean, he's obviously not on the same level as Osama bin Laden or whatever, but he's not a particularly good person. The guy is basically doing tax evasion every fucking day, as many other things, as well as many other things. Um, yeah. What else? Yeah, there's this new president in, I don't know if you follow the news in the Netherlands. There's this new president, or sorry, prime minister. His name is Geert Wilders. And his MBTI, guess what it is? It's an ESTJ. Again, not a particularly good person. He is a pretty evil son of a bitch. Um, it's good for the Netherlands to have such a strong, masculine leadership that is going to clean up the shit and the garbage and the problems in the Netherlands. Probably it is a good thing for the Dutch. It's good for the Dutch politics to get rid of immigrants, to get rid of all the foreigners, to promote the economy, promote the private sector and businesses and that kind of stuff. That is definitely going to happen. It's just also happening in Italy, Giorgia Meloni. It's happening. It's going to happen soon in France, and I think the Reform Party as well in England is definitely gonna clean up the act in England. But anyway, I don't want to diverge into politics. Just really interesting. So the more masculine, the masculine functions, the masculine cognitive functions tend to be more evil, and the feminine cognitive functions tend to be good. Now, what's the meaning of good? Good usually has a pretty positive connotation. Evil has a negative connotation. But you have to understand that good can also just mean one that is always doing the right thing, being submissive, obedient, that kind of stuff. Um, you have to look at it a little bit beyond the connotation, like the moralistic connotation. Don't be a moralistic moron. Just look at it without those connotations. Good just means submissive, subservient, compliant. That's essentially what it means. So yeah, this makes perfect sense. And like I said before, you can look in history. You will find actually most of the people who are like they're pretty evil, genocidal maniacs, terrorists, mass killers, serial killers, all sorts of stuff. Typically, you will find that the personalities in the MBTI that they have, the cognitive functions are very masculine. Usually, not always, but usually. You can also look at serial killers, for example. I think it fits my theory very well. One of the most prominent serial killers in the history of America was Richard Kuklinski. And Richard Kuklinski killed about 300 people. He was working for the Gambino family, the mafia, and killed about 300 people. Got away with it for multiple years. He was a smart guy. He was not stupid. Made tons of money that way. Obviously, it all went to shit at the end. He also got killed in jail, but whatever. But guess what his guess what his MBTI was? ESTJ. A lot of serial killers also tend to be overly represented with ISTP. There's a lot of ISTP serial killers. There's also a fair share of ENTJ. Now, ENTJ may not be the most masculine MBTI personality, but it is pretty masculine. I mean, TE is very masculine. NI might be a little bit feminine, but TE and I does give you a slightly more masculine personality. Definitely more towards the masculine side, not so much the feminine. And you guys know the story of Ted Bundy. I don't know if you guys watched the movie. If you haven't, watch it. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. Actually, they made two different movies, so there's not just one movie. There's multiple movies. But yeah, Ted Bundy, he would take women to the woods and he would rape them, kill them, and then rape their corpses. And he just had like this funny thing that he would usually do. He would hold a woman captive in the woods and he'd just shout like, "This is the court of Ted Bundy!" you know, Apparently Ted Bundy had a lot of anger issues. He had a lot of rage attacks, rage issues, and I think that he felt that he was powerless in society because I don't know what his problem was, but I think he always had the feeling, this insecurity that he was all the good looking men, the well educated men who come from good families and have a lot of money that seem to be getting all the women or whatever. And he just wanted to, I don't know, he had this sense of justice as if he felt that everything was unfair towards him and that he needed to, equilibrate everything, put everything back to the balance by killing and raping women. Anyway, that's yeah. So a lot of serial killers you will find either ESTJ. There's a lot of ESTJ, ENTJ, ISTP, overly represented. Um, there's also a decent amount of ISTJs as well. I don't know if there's any ESTPs. There might be. There's also a decent amount of ESFP. I think what's his name? The Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez. Richard Ramirez was, I think, an ESFP, and that's a relatively masculine personality. Not full on, but still, if you're leading with SE, you're SE dominant with SE, and you have FI, which is feminine, but still you got like mostly SE, then that's relatively masculine. And yeah. All right, so that's me talking about the MBTI and how it relates to you know which cognitive functions are evil, which ones are good, and which ones are neutral, and how it relates to masculinity and femininity. I think that's just really, really interesting. It's like we discovered something new. So, guys, if somebody says, men are evil, women are good, I would say probably that is slightly true. Now, obviously there's no guarantee that a woman is going to have a feminine personality. She might have a masculine personality. You might meet a woman who is an ESTJ. You might meet a woman who is an ISTP or an ENTJ. Not very likely, but you might, right? And you might you might encounter also you might encounter a man who is an ENFJ, right, or an INFJ or an INFP, which would make them pretty feminine. So there's just no guarantee that you can split all the men and women and say, oh, they're good or they're evil or have the tendency to be good or evil or whatever. Guys. So anyway, don't take this way too seriously. We're just having fun here, but it does tell you something at the very least. It leads you in a certain direction. Just want to add a last little bit, which I should have probably done in the beginning, but I'm going to do it now, which is, okay, what are the personality types, according to this, what are the personality types which are most evil? That would be ESTP and ISTP, which also happen to be the first most masculine. And according to this chart, what are the two most good personalities in the MBTI? Guess what that is? ENFJ and INFJ, which are it's like when you take ISTP or ESTP and you flip all the letters, you will get INFJ and ENFJ. So those are the most good, and they also happen to be the most feminine. Anyway, guys, gonna wrap this one up. I hope you enjoyed this. Like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you guys in the next one.